Hi there everyone, my name's Dave West. I hope you're all doing well. So welcome back to the ultimate video test, and today I'm checking out the Samsung Galaxy S25 Plus. Now, as with all ultimate video tests, I'll leave all of the main camera specifications down in the description. I'll just run through some of the high level features throughout the video to help save a little bit of time. So we're starting off with the selfie camera, and this is a 12 megapixel autofocus camera, and this can record video in both standard dynamic range and high dynamic range at up to 4K at 60 frames per second. So starting off at 4K at 30 frames per second, and chose a slightly different time of day today in the harsh early morning sun to see how the phone copes with a lot of shadowy and harsh light straight into the sensor. Now, the S25 Plus, like Samsung's going all the way back to the Galaxy S9, has built-in electronic image stabilization. You can toggle this on or off. My recommendation is just leave it switched on at all times, because you get this really nice, smooth and jitter-free video. It's really quite impressive. You get nice colors, good exposure, auto exposure that is. You can lock it if you just push and hold the screen. But I would just say, just leave it in auto mode and let the phone do its thing. So, quick run then just to test out the stabilization. Now, when you watch when you're recording, it looks like a bit of a hot mess, but the software will do all the magic in the background to stabilize the video. Now, the wind is a little bit choppy this morning, so hopefully the noise cancelling microphones will help to get rid of some of the wind cross which comes across the microphones. It won't eradicate it completely, but I know from experience that it does a pretty good job of making sure that voices can be heard clearly, while still giving you a good sense of space with the stereo sound recording. So for comparison, this is 4K at 60 frames per second from the selfie camera, and as you can see, it exhibits the same characteristics as when recording in 30 frames per second, which is good. And you still get the great sense of smooth image stabilization. Your eyes are not tricking you. This is on a big slope, this common. So it is straight and not holding the phone wonky. But again, with the sun behind me, I think the phone does a good job with the auto exposure, making sure everything looks really nice and tidy. And if I just turn straight into the sun, again, it copes really, really well. So here's one of my favorite features from the Galaxy S25 Plus, and also the S23. Wow, well, back to the S22, I think I remember. The portrait video mode is really fantastic. You do get these really nice colors which look slightly different to the main video mode. You get this nice soft blurred background as well. What's most impressive is you don't get any of that kind of wonky, people missing an ear or the edge of their glasses has kind of disappeared. You just get this nice focus on the subject with soft blurred background. Now, this is just the default setting. You can make it stronger or weaker, but the main idea is to give you strong focus on the subject with the blurred background, which makes the subject really pop out of the frame. It's really, really impressive, and you still get the image stabilization. So this is applied across the board. As long as you've switched it on, it's on, and wherever mode you're recording in, the stabilization is always working in the background, which basically means you can just use this phone, set and forget, and just carry on without having to worry about doing any work yourself to stabilize footage later on. Right, so this is nothing new. This is the dual video recording function. So that means you can use the selfie camera and any one of the three rear cameras. So I selected the selfie and the ultra-wide camera for the purpose of this demo. And the good thing is that you can choose how you want to do it. So you can have me in the main frame and then the ultra-wide camera up in the little picture-in-picture. Or we can swap it around. You can have me in the picture-in-picture and the ultra-wide camera recorded in the background. Again, only available at 30 frames per second. But this is one of those features you're just going to use occasionally, so I don't think it really calls for 60 FPS. Would have been nice to have it, but this is a really cool feature if we really need to use it. It's great for if you're going to watch the sports game, or going to a concert or family gathering, and you really have to have the two fields of view. Alright then, round to the rear cameras. So you've got three main cameras here. So you've got this 12 megapixel ultra wide camera. So this is fixed focus, it doesn't have any autofocus, as you can see there. You've then got a 50 megapixel autofocus camera. Samsung offers you a 2x lossless zoom option, which gets you a little bit closer, and then a 10 megapixel 3x telephoto lens. And you can also go all the way up to 10x zoom, so this is digital, and then an additional 2x above that again to give you 12x digital. It's not very good, as you can see. It's kind of a needs must feature. So throw this on the background a bit more. So, you know, you're not going to use this all of the time, but if you really absolutely must get closer to a subject, then this will do. It's heavily over sharpened and quite soft, but it's there. And just to show you how far back it will go, let's go to the ultra wide camera, and it's quite a far reach there, as you can see. Now the ultra wide camera has a nice wide field of view, and as with the selfie camera, you get always on electronic image stabilization. Again, it can be toggled off, but I just say just leave it on. It does such a good job that you would only really need to switch it off if you absolutely must have no crop on the image and want to use like a mechanical stabilization method, like a gimbal or something else like that. But as you can see, really nice colors and good exposure across the board. So if you just look straight into the sun, good job with the auto exposure. You can see it's still exposing the grass really nicely, so there's not loads of shadows and it's not sort of crumbling under the exposure of the really bright sun. You're still getting a good image out in front of you as well, so it's not compromising, it's giving you a good balance between the two. And switch to the main lens, again, not much change there. You're still getting a good quality of video. So let's just check out the 3x zoom camera, so you can get nice and close to subjects without compromising on detail. One thing I have noticed is, and this is typical of most phones with zoom cameras, is that when the light is less than ideal, it won't use the zoom camera, it will crop off the main camera. That's not such a bad thing actually, because you've got a 50 megapixel lens this year, and so the quality when you crop off it is actually really good. So don't be too disheartened if you can see the lens kind of flip-flopping in darker scenarios, because it's just the phone intelligently trying to get you the best quality while still maintaining a good level of zoom. What I'm impressed with is the standard dynamic range video is still really impressive. Sometimes phones sort of prefer one or the other, but this is a really good quality video that you get even in standard dynamic range. So you never really feel like you're compromising on anything, and you just get that flexibility of being able to use one or the other and not feel like you're missing out. This is something I've noticed since the S23 series, well, the S22 really, is that the standard dynamic range, you know, they've made a real effort to make it the best quality video that they can, and then giving it a high dynamic range option if you really want it. Now, if you want to see the high dynamic range, I'll put a link in the video that I'd recorded earlier last week showing the high dynamic range video. It's really fantastic. Samsung HDR video used to be a bit wacky and day glow colour like, but not anymore. Very, very comparable to what Apple are offering with their iPhone, and that is the biggest compliment I can pay this phone, trust me. So let's check out autofocus then. Remember, you can only get this now on the main camera and telephoto. So there you go, you can see you get a nice smooth and fast lock onto your subject with really good detail. You can get quite close as well, as you can see there. You Even the grooves in my Oppo Find X5 case have been rendered really nicely by the camera, which is great, and you get a nice smooth transition back to the background. So very quickly then, here is 4K 60 from the rear cameras, and as you can see, nice smooth stabilization, but you get the nice smoother video as well to go with it. And the good thing is with 4K 60 you can switch between all the different cameras while you're recording, all the way up to the 3x telephoto lens, and still get really good quality. So I've done the 60 FPS video on a separate video in HDR mode. It's exactly the same, but just in high dynamic range instead, so I won't spend too long on this video, but it's just to give you an idea of how it looks. There's the main lens, and then back to the ultra wide. Alright, so finally I just wanted to show you this. This is the super steady video. Because the stabilization is so good on the main video modes, kind of makes this a bit redundant. It is better stable, I wouldn't say better, it's just stronger stabilization, but you do have to drop the quality down to 1440p. It does do it at 60 frames per second, but you can't do this super steady video in 4K. You can on the Ultra, just not on the S25 or S25 Plus. I'll just go for a quick run here. So it gives you, well, what they're trying to aim for is a sort of more gimbal-like stabilization process, which largely works, but you still get the kind of footstep motion sometimes, which means that you're probably just better off using the main mode without having to use super steady. You can get the full quality then of using 4K. Alright, so that's the end then of this ultimate video test for the Galaxy S25 Plus. If you have any comments or questions, then please leave those down in the comments section, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. And don't forget, if you're new here, then please do consider subscribing, so you'll miss more videos coming like this very, very soon. But for now, this has been my ultimate video test for the Samsung Galaxy S25 Plus. My name is Dave West, and I'll catch you guys later.